Student teaching was an interesting experience, already being in the classroom and a classroom teacher. So as I was going throughout the course and the coursework and reading things and reading the course material, it was nice to already be putting it in practice, see some of the things that I was already doing, seeing some things that I could improve upon. For EdTPA in particular, it was a challenge just because of trying to balance getting all of this like nitty gritty detail stuff in EdTPA and getting the right documents and getting all of those things, when in reality in the classroom, I'm not having to explain things in that detail, even though that's what is going on, in my brain as I'm deciding things and evaluating and doing a lot of on the fly evaluation of like, okay, these children are not understanding, so let's move on. But it was nice to take a second and or weeks to sit there and go through the process and just say, okay, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're going to make these changes. This is how we're going to do a follow-up lesson. So in reality, as challenging and hard as it was to get it all done and balance working full-time and EdTPA, looking back, I think it was a good experience just to be able to have that moment to think critically about the classroom and about, everything that was going on. I think that it helped, especially with, my grammar class and things like that, just to say, okay, like this was a great thing to learn from my mentor teacher as I watched them throughout student teaching, and then also as we talked about some EdTPA stuff and use some of those classroom management things and some of the evaluation techniques that she had. And so that was a really made an impact on the classroom and how I've run it so far, both with EdTPA, kind of making those connections with the evaluations, but also, observing my mentor teacher and how she managed the class and made real-time evaluations or graded something and then the next day used it to change the lesson. So I think that's had a big impact on how I have managed my classroom. The biggest aspect of student teaching that had an impact on my life, I wouldn't say that it didn't really change anything I was doing day to day. I realized how many hours we were spending in the classroom. I realized that leading a classroom, there's a lot of things that go into it. It was nice to read through some of the course material and say, okay, yes, we do that, I do that, I do that, and then also make some of those tweaks and learn from my classmates and learn how to take the things that we read and the research and actually apply it to the classroom and things like that, things that we've learned throughout the course of study, but to actually be able to apply it in the student teaching and say, okay, this is the research for this lesson plan. We are doing, things that are color-coded because this piece of research says it, So that made an impact on me, and that was also a really good just way to go about it and just evaluate lesson plans and how effective that they are.